Hey guys, welcome to Piano Challenge number 43. Today I'm going to show you how to create your ninth chords easily at the piano. So of course to grab the sheet music and backing tracks, just go back to pianowithwillie.com/challenge. All of that is free. You can put in your name and email and grab all of that for free. All right, so basically when we have a basic F7 chord here, this is our basic F dominant 7th chord, root 3, 5, 7, right? So one thing always confused me when I was first starting out. I was like, how do I play my ninth? I just like, do I have to like kind of reach up there with my pinky? And the thing that actually, a little anecdote for you, you might find funny is that my hands can actually stretch that. So I actually thought that that's what I was supposed to do, is play the root and then also add in the ninth, okay? So, or like, do you do it down here? You crush it down there, but then it never made sense to me. Well, ninth should always be on top, right? So let's dispel some of that mystery right now. First of all, the ninth can be anywhere. If you put it down in here, when we're talking jazz chords, it's absolutely fine if it's down there right next to the root or if it's up there on top. It doesn't always have to be an octave and a step higher, okay? Now, typically when playing these ninth chords, what we do is we get rid of the roots. Because a lot of times we're going to be playing these chords in the left hand, and there's going to be like, you know, a bass player or whatnot playing some bass line down there, and I have a backing track for this lesson, so you'll be able to play along with the backing track, which I'll show you in a second. So all we do is we just basically shift our chord up. So I get rid of the root down here. I put my pinky on what is the third, right? Then I slide my fingers up, and then rather than playing the root up top, I go up to my ninth, okay? Remember 9 and 2, it's the same thing, okay? Why do we call it 9? Usually because we are adding that on as a tension, whereas when we call it 2, it's usually replacing a chord tone, like a sus2 is replacing the third. So typically when we think about 9, that means that we're adding on that note. It's in addition to. That's another way you can think about it, all right? So there's your F7 9 chord, or as we can also just call it, an F9 chord. Now, a lot of times when I see a chord like this written out like F9, that's not how a typical jazz player would write it. Typical jazz player would just write it F7 because we know naturally we can put in 9, we can put in 13, you know, we might put in like, you know, like sharp 11 in there, whatever. We know that we can add in all of these different tensions as jazz players. But when you're first getting started, sometimes it's a little bit easier to see it say something like F9. That way you know that you add on the ninth. But don't feel as though you always have to see it written in the chord symbol with the ninth. You might just see it written as F7, and guess what? You can still add in the ninth. The ninth, what's great about the ninth is that it works on pretty much all of your chords, all right? So a major, minor, dominant 7th chord, the ninth always works on those chords, all right? So it's a great tension to have in your back pocket and use on your chords. Now, B flat 7. Here we go. Here's B flat 7, and we can just move it right on up here, okay? But now, does it make sense to go from F7 or F9 here up to B flat 9 like that? No, it's not very good voice leading, right? So instead, we do this. So see how I can move in like this? So if we take a look at it, that would be my B flat 7 chord. It's in my third inversion, right? Root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, right? And then rather than playing the root in there, I'm just moving that root up to my ninth, okay? Okay, which is C. So F7 with the ninth, B flat 7 with the ninth. So first of all, start by just getting comfortable with that. Now, one thing you always want to look at is when you're moving in between two different chord voicings, right? And a voicing is just how we arrange the notes of that chord. When you're moving in between two different chord voicings, you want to pay attention to your common tones. So one way of looking at that is like, you know, play your one voicing over here and your other voicing here. So there's my F and there's my B flat. Are any notes in common between those two? So is there an A in the B flat? No. Is there a C? Yep, there's a C. All right, let me hold on to that one. Is there an E flat? No. Is there a G? No. Okay, so that C is the note that's in common. So that means that everything revolves around that C. See, I'm holding on to that C and I bring those other notes in. Now, another thing to make sure that you do is don't hold down the common tone and just play the other notes. Play all of the notes again, right? All right, so F7 to B flat 7. Now check this out. We get this real simple comping exercise. Got a real simple lick in the right hand. Starts on your fourth finger. All right, just coming down the first 4 notes of that minor pentatonic scale, that F minor pentatonic scale. So it just keeps looping. Right, now, let me get that play-along track for you here, and we'll play along with that play-along track. Now, remember, start slow, okay? Start with the slow play-along track. I got a 90 beat per minute, and I have a 120, okay? And just start with the left hand to start. 2, ready, go. And you can hold out that first chord like that if you want. You don't have to play it short like an eighth note. Bring in the right hand. All right, now, one thing that I like to do is I like to, well, a couple of things. One is I like to find small things to practice, all right? I've read and researched and, hear other teachers talking about, oh, you got to set aside like 20 minutes or a half an hour, and they say, it's just all about goals, goals, goals. You know what? I'll tell you what the reality is that, yeah, that's going to work for some people, but for a lot of people, it's not going to work. And what I have found is that you're much better to get to the piano and do something quick. So if all you could do is 5 minutes at the piano, great. Do 5 minutes. Because here's the trick. When you sit down and you play 5 minutes at the piano, guess what? You're going to naturally probably make that 10 or 15. But if all you have is 5 minutes, then at least you sat down and practiced for 5 minutes. When people think, oh, I got to set aside 20 minutes or a half an hour, immediately it becomes difficult for us to say, well, where can I fit that half an hour in to my schedule? Forget the half an hour, all right? Forget about writing down a bunch of goals and all of that for right now. And I'm saying, like, if you're having difficulty practicing. Now, if you're on track and everything is going fine, then yes, write down your goals. Have a real good, solid plan. But if you're having difficulty just sitting down and practicing anything at all, these piano challenges are great because they're short things that you can practice, all right? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be like this big elongated practice session. 5 minutes, all right? So do this, right? Play along with the play-along track. Now, what you can do is obviously move this into another key. All right, well, what if we went into the key of C? There's my C7 chord to my F7 chord, right? Okay? So now you sit down, you practice that for about 5 minutes. Now the great thing is, guess what? The play-along track is 7 minutes long, right? So 7 minutes, you can put the play-along track on and just play on that with F to B flat. Okay? And then, now after a while, obviously it's going to be like, okay, yeah, I got it, Willie. What else can I do here, right? So rather than just playing the lick going down like that, right? Play the lick going up. So you see how I can play around with it? I still keep the same rhythm, and I still utilize these 4 notes, but I don't have to necessarily utilize all 4 notes, all right? So it's a great way of practicing something, getting to the piano, practicing something quick, feeling like you got something done, something accomplished, and then you can move on to the next thing, okay? So anyway, have fun with that, and I'll see you guys in the next piano challenge. Don't forget, go ahead back to pianotowillie.com/challenge. That's where you can put your name and email address in, and I'll set you up, and you'll get all of the sheet music and backing tracks absolutely free of charge. All right, take care, guys.